All right, so we'll jump right into it. Aronia Low-Scape Mound. We continue to push the numbers up on this. We list 2,800, but there's more crops coming online. So we'll have a good supply for spring. But you can see here we got great size, way better shape than where we were last year. Last year we were really cheating it. This year we have a nice full 15-inch plus plant. This plant's great. It can fill in a lot of uses. Low spreader. It is a native for sure, so it fits a lot of areas, and it's going to have a really nice red fall color coming up. So that's going to be happening here pretty quick. So when that happens, they'll really start to show. But they'll stay green probably for another couple weeks. So just expect those will start to change color, and we'll keep moving on. But keep selling with confidence. Grass redhead. Redhead is an extremely aggressive grass, great for tough areas. Has a big foxtail type plume on it. This is the time where it shines, is right now. It will start to fade out here over the next couple weeks, so that red will start to fade out and turn more brown. But we still have a couple weeks of color going on here. You do have to consider where you plant this because it can fill an area pretty quick. It doesn't spread out of control too much, but it needs a little room to grow. That's why I like really pushing this grass for more like erosion control, places like that. I wouldn't consider this grass a great foundation type plant around a home, but in a tough area, in a waterway, a swale, erosion type settings. So that's where this grass really does really well. But it's very easy, very adaptable. If you got people that don't particularly have a green thumb, this is a great grass to start with. So Hamlin, so a little bit different animal. Hamlin will just have this brownish color plume on it with the green foliage underneath. Hamlin's a little more tidy, a little neater type of grass. It's lower growing, so it's one of the shorter grasses out there. Been around for quite a while. This is your landscape staple grass. But we have 1,600 of these. They look great. They'll tend to resist rust a long way into fall. Most grass right now are going to start showing some sign of rust. It's just inevitable as they start to lose daylight. The plant starts to shut down. The plant's not really going to grow anymore. It's not going to get any bigger. It's not going to spread anymore. It will root, so good time to get it planted in the ground and get it to root before winter. But we've got a great crop of those. Hydrangea Quickfire Fab. So this is the improved Quickfire. It has the biggest thing with this one is it has a bigger bloom. You can see here what I'm talking about here. It still has about the same branching structure, same thickness to the branch. Quickfire has always been known for thicker stems, able to hold themselves up better. But a lot bigger flower. It will, it starts out that greenish color, white, then goes to the pinks, reds. So it will start changing on. But the big deal, the big difference is the size of the flower and the density of the flower, so which you can see there. So good time to get them out. Chamaecyparis obtusa torlosa. So this is in our new program that we're doing some of these interesting Chamaecyparis. Torlosa has kind of a different. It's not a twisted type growth, but it's like a corkscrew type of growth. It's more kind of crinkly and turned a little bit. Nice color. It holds up very well through the heat that I've seen, so that's really good. Chamaecyparis in general, we have to be very careful where we plant them. They don't like wet feet. I have yet to run across the Chamaecyparis that really likes wet feet that are the obtusa kinds. So they need well-drained soils. Other than that, if you can give them well-drained soil, they need full sun. They don't do well in shade. The straight obtusas really need full sun, well-drained soil, and they'll be successful with them. But we got 150 of these, plus we have others out there. So take a look at our inventory. We got some interesting little niche plants that might help you get in the door here and there and build some orders. Juniper Blue Point. So this is our go-to blue juniper. We really stay away from Wichita and some of the others just because of the blight issues. Blue Point resists blight very well. So that's why we go with it. We have them in 7s. They adapt very well to container growing. They're much more adaptable for transplant. They have a more fibrous root system, so that leads to better transplant. When you're talking skyrockets, the reason we can't grow a skyrocket in a container is because of the roots. The roots are very coarse and they tend to wrap, and that makes for a very weak plant. So that's why we have to grow them in root bags. That root bag helps to get a better fibrous root system. And then we pull that root bag out, temporarily stick it in a pot for shipping, and that's how we can produce those. But this is the plant to go with. Push it if you got people that still are clinging on to Wichita Blue. Just keep talking about this one, see if you can get moved off, because I have yet to see a Wichita Blue that doesn't have major issues in the landscape. And most nurseries that ship them, they always look a little rough. I think nurseries do the best they can with them, and they're always trimming dead branches out of them. But it's a very tough plant to grow in most of our regions. Magnolia virginiana glauca. So, we really pushed hard on Jim Wilson for quite a few years there. We lost our guy who was propagating them. We're trying to get them back online. It's been difficult. Jim Wilson, the only way we could get it going is through tissue culture. There's not very many labs left in the United States for tissue culture. So we think we got a line. We're starting to bring it back on. But, we have virginiana glauca. So I know you have people requesting Jim Wilson. Jim Wilson it's a nice selection. It's just a selection out of virginiana glauca. Then they tissue cultured it so it would stay true. But virginiana glauca, these particular ones were done from cutting type, so they weren't seed collect. When you do seed collection, sometimes you get some wild variations in there. So these are reduced more from cutting, so they can tend to get a little bit better plant. But we got a great selection of some real nice 25s out there. We got 7s, right? Sure. Yeah, we got some 7s. So different sizes, but yeah, I've got a few questions about Jim Wilson. We're just not going to have them for a couple of years here, but we do have some great virginiana glauca. Yeah. So if you didn't hear that, Cheryl said 7 gallons are tipping 60-inch. So they're really tall. They're not going to be as beefy as these 25s. They're not going to be as thick and full, but they're pushing up there. Physocarpa tiny wine. Tiny wine is a little more dwarf. It still can get pretty big. It's not going to get nearly as big as the standard varieties, but it's not a little tiny miniature garden type of plant. Tiny wine does grow. You can see here from the size, it's in a 2. We had some great growth this year. It does have a little bit smaller leaf. It definitely stays more dense and compact. When you're talking tiny wine and little devil, tiny wine might be a hair smaller, but they're very similar. We grow the little devil in a 3 because it is just slightly more aggressive, but still at the end of the day, they have about the same growth rate. So either way you want to go is good. But we got a great crop of these. We were very short on them last year. We were able to beef that up. We got 1,200. Spirea Rainbow Fizz. This is one of the new Lumineezies that we brought on board. We've talked about this one before. We'll keep talking about it because it's fairly new. Rainbow Fizz has greenish to light green to dark green foliage. And then it has kind of a small neon pink flower, which you can see there. Some of the new growth will come on red. So it gets differences in colors, but it always has a green background it's working against. But the flower is kind of unique. It's very sparkly when it comes out. So it can be an eye catcher. It does repeat bloom, but it definitely has its main bloom in the May, 1st of June is the big wow bloom. And then it has sporadic bloomings throughout the rest of the year. Taxus densiformis. Hopefully I don't have to talk about this one too much, but we just wanted to show you the size here, how fantastic these are. We list them as 18, they're 24-inch tip-in. Great plants. We got over 1,000 of them available. This has been a landscape staple for a long time. Make sure we're pushing the quality on these. You know, there's still bare root floating around out there that might be cheaper, but sometimes you get what you pay for. We really make sure we take the time to produce a really nice Taxus, so they're getting their money's worth out of a container Taxus. So just make sure you're showing especially your re-wholesalers. They'll really go after this one and see if that'll help you get in the door. Weigelia spilled wine, another one that I shouldn't have spent a lot of time on. It's been around for a little while now. Very low grow spreading. You can see there, we're finishing off the size really well. I think we got a great size going in the fall and for spring. She has 2,500 for immediate sales. And I think there's another 10,000, I think, following up behind them. So sell with confidence. And last, I think we have Red Prince. So we got a great crop of Red Prince, nice, fresh. You can see there, they're not going to be tired. They're not going to be woody and sticky. The growers did a great job getting them trimmed and getting them moved around and spaced. And we have a great flower going on right now. You know, this quality here is only going to last a couple more weeks. Okay. And then they're going to start fading out, going into their fall mode. But, you know, if you can get some of these out next week, somebody is looking for a quick shot of color or something out there, this would be a great one. You know, you could probably ship it still with some blooms, but be careful. You know, we're winding down here. Be careful doing a lot of promising, you know, especially if you can't get it out like right away, because once the 15th hits, all bets are off. We get these cold nights, short days, stuff starts to shut down and wrap up. But they're looking really good. And even as they shut down and wrap up, you can see there we got a lot of juvenile wood in there, stuff like that. So they're going to pop out nice and full come springtime too. So a great crop to push and focus on. All right. Those are the photos. I guess just to bring up to speed where we are with digging. Right now we're thinking we may start around the 20th. Obviously depending on weather, but long-term forecasts look good. The first things we'll start out with would be pine spruce. We'd have to see how the arbs are. We just got to make sure the arbs are starting to slow down before we can dig an arb. But we'll keep you posted. We'll talk about it a little more detail next week. We'll have a better idea. That's what we're shooting for. Deciduous, we're still a ways away. That's usually, you know, sometime second week of October type event, somewhere in that range. So, but that's what you can start communicating. You can start thinking about orders. And it's, you know, it's coming up here in a couple of weeks.